When 516 came along, it was just a natural fit for us. We had been wanting to serve in a greater capacity by building wheelchair ramps, by helping put roofs on people's houses, but I just didn't know how to do it. And so all of a sudden, here's 516, and we go, wow, like these guys not only know how to do it, but we could do the same thing. We can partner with them and say, hey, here's an opportunity for you to serve.
Excited to be here today. I've got Pastor Marty from Northstar Church with us. They're in Panama City and one of our main partners there with our Panama City team. And so just honored to have you with us today, Pastor. And thank you for spending a little bit of time with us today.
Hey, it's an honor to be with you.
We're going to jump into a few things today. But I guess to really start us off, what is Northstar all about? What is y'all's mission? What is the church really trying to do there in the community of Panama City?
I was working in Texas before we came back to start the church, and there was a bunch of guys that I worked with who had never been to church, didn't know God, and really didn't have any interest in knowing God. I'll just put it that way. Yeah. And so I began to develop a relationship with probably 3 or 4 of the guys there at work, and just really began to love on them. Not with an agenda, like to do anything. Like I wasn't looking to share the gospel. I was hoping that I could. I was praying that I could. But really just really entered into a genuine friendship relationship with them. And out of that, one of the guys who was kind of the guy that just had no interest at all, we became really good friends over the next 6 months. And one night when we had gotten back to where we were working, he just grabbed me by the neck and turned me around eyeball to eyeball. This guy's like 6'7", 280 pounds, a big guy, scared me to death. And I just look at him and say, hey, man, what's up? Because I thought I'd said something that offended him. Right. And he said, man, what is so different about you? I just told him, man, God loves you, has a purpose and a plan for your life. And I'd love nothing more than to be able to share that with you. And that night, God just placed on my heart. He said, Marty, I want you to plant a church for guys. His name was Jason, for guys like Jason. So we moved back to Panama City with a vision to help the whole world find and follow Jesus. And our whole strategy was all about serving the community. I don't think people want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. And so for us, our strategy just has always been to be the hands and the feet of Jesus to the community.
That is so perfect. And I think that's one of the reasons that you and I have gotten along so well from the first time we met. Just that's been such a passion of mine with 516 Project too, is in particular, there's so many people we can help, that we can serve, so many great things that we can do, but being able to be a place where, we are showing what we're about, we're demonstrating what we're about, and allowing that question of, hey, why are you doing this? Why are you helping me? Why do you want to serve me and not charge me a bunch of money, and all these different questions that start to come up, to where we can then, like you said, then we can share our faith and say, well, hey, this is why I do this. This is what I'm all about. This is the reason behind the action. And just that piece of being able to reach out to men in particular. That was a big part of my story of becoming a Christian. Is I got invited to church all the time. It was really easy to say, no, I don't want to come to church. Thanks. I'll catch you later. But when somebody invited me, hey, come do this service project with us. We're going to help out and, build this lady a wheelchair ramp because she ain't getting out of her house. Oh yeah, I'll come do that. That's an easy yes. And then, starting to see guys like, well, wait a minute, what's different about these guys? Why are they happy? Why are they, why do they love their wives? Why do they do these things for people without asking anything in return? And being able to see it lived out just played a huge role in my life, and has been a big part of why we do what we do through 516 Project. I think God definitely put us together for a very good reason.
Well, and I think that's true, James. The way we got connected with 516 was that very that very thing is we started the church. And one of the things I realized as we began to grow really fast, and when we had got like to 2,000 or 3,000, I remember very, very specifically, there was just like a lot of people coming to me saying, why don't we do this, or why don't we do that, or, why aren't we doing, and it's things like, why don't we have a clothes closet, or why don't we have a food bank? And honestly, like less than, 2 blocks down the road is a church that has the largest food bank in our entire county. They are way better at doing that than we are. And so we just began to say, hey, how do we develop partnerships with people that are already doing what needs to be done and are great at it, where we don't have to reinvent the wheel? And so for us, we actually partnered with this group, and we send people over all the time to serve there. We give them financial support. And so when 516 came along with Tommy and Jana Rowland, it was just a natural fit for us. I mean, we saw what you were doing in the community and how that was making a difference. And for us, it was just like, hey, let's don't go reinvent this, because we had been wanting to serve in a greater capacity by building wheelchair ramps, by helping put roofs on people's houses, by doing things that people just needed done, but just didn't know how to do it. And so all of a sudden, here's 516, and we go, wow, like these guys not only know how to do it, but we could do the same thing. We can partner with them and say, hey, here's an opportunity for you to serve. And so that's kind of what happened for us, is that we basically, partnered up with you guys, with Jana and Tommy. They actually started attending Northstar, and we just started saying to our church, hey, if you want to serve on a weekend and make a difference in people's lives, here's one of our partners. And Project 516, once a month, we're going out into the community, building wheelchair ramps, different projects that come up. And as a pastor, if I can just be honest, it's a no-brainer. I mean, I'm not having to, come up with these projects. I'm not having to staff, this idea of here's how we're going to accomplish this. I'm able to go, hey, Tommy, what are you guys doing? How can we help? And now all I have to do is stand up and say, hey guys, we have a project coming up, and 516 is partnering with us. We're partnering with them. Here's where it's going to be. And, 40, 50 people show up and go, and they're a part of making a difference in a person's life.
And that's been one of the things that, I like how you put it that way, because that's been one of the things that's been on my heart since we started is, we always want to be a partner with the church and be able to, and this is with all the churches we partner with, but really, we kind of jokingly say, hey, we want to be that easy button, that button that you can push and say, hey, that the project is there, it's already vetted. You don't have to have another staff person or another team or, another thing that's under that you're having to, watch over. It's just, hey, where do we need to be? What do we need to do? How many people do you need? And just kind of make it happen. That makes me feel good knowing that's how it's being perceived by you as the pastor. That's incredible.
I would say to any pastor that listens, to this, they need to think about, partnering with you guys, because in my mind, it just gives us a vehicle through which we can serve the community in a greater capacity. But it doesn't, like you said, and I'm glad you guys feel that way, because sometimes I feel guilty. I'm like, Jana and Tommy are doing all the work, and, James is doing all the work. But the reality is, you guys y'all are laying the foundation for us to show up and just be the hands and the feet of Jesus to the people that we're serving. And man, it's always organized. All the behind the scenes stuff that has to go on, you guys take care of it. And I'm never worrying about, is there going to be organization, or, are there waivers, all that stuff. I don't even have to worry about it. Just knowing that y'all have vetted a project and we're able to go, okay, this is a genuine need. Sometimes it's like, hey, we don't have the resources. So we're able to come in and say, can we give some money? How can we help? And then how many people do we need? And that just makes it a great partnership. And we love the partnership. Like, we love working with Tommy and Jana and with you guys. Y'all have just made it so easy for us. And what it's done in the community and the impact that it's had. I can just tell you this. I last week did a newcomers chat. That's where we bring in all the new people at the church. And I just kind of cast a little bit of vision, tell them a little bit about who we are. We talk about Project 516. We talk about the Bay County movement, how those two are working together. And I'll tell you, just this last class that I was in, I had 80% of the people tell me that their exact words were, the reason that we came to Northstar is we saw what you guys were doing in the community. One couple said to me, they said, we have not been to church, This is the first time we've ever been to church. We're just kind of kicking the tires, checking it out. And I just asked them, I said, how did you find out about Northstar? And they said, because we saw what you guys were doing in the community with 516 Project. And man, we just want to be a part. And I like to say it like this, and I'm not saying that this is true for everybody, but this is what I'm finding here at Northstar. People are more committed to they're more connected to the mission than they are to the weekend. And so what we're finding is that if we can keep the mission in front of people and serve the community, that is actually what is getting people connected and attracting people. It's not the weekend service. And it's not what we do on the weekend, and that is a huge shift. From previous what we saw before the hurricane hit here in Bay County. People would show up on the weekend, but the reality now is they're getting connected in the community through the projects, and then they're actually finding the church.
That's what it's all about. That's amazing. You mentioned the For Bay County movement. I want to touch on that too, because and correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's what, the fourth Sunday of every month y'all do your $4 Sunday. Is that right?
That's right.
Share with us a little bit about that, because I know I tell that. So I'm part of a group of pastors that meet monthly, and I've shared that idea with them, and I know a couple of them were interested in setting up something similar. But for me personally, I had never seen a church do something like this before. And so when y'all started doing it and incorporated us into it a couple times, just what a huge blessing to the community, to both, the organizations you're partnering with and to the congregation, being able to say, hey, here's all these organizations that we know and believe in and have a connection with. But yeah, tell us a little bit more about how y'all do the fourth Sunday.
So for us, Four, and that's not original with me. Four was a book I read by Jeff Henderson, where he just talked about, how so many churches are known for what they're against and not what they're for. And that just resonated with me, because I've always felt like I wanted Northstar to be known for what we were for. We're for, our community. We're for people. We're for small businesses. We can go down the list of just everything that we try to say, hey, this is what we're for. So we actually decided to start a campaign called the For Bay County Movement, or campaign is what we call it. And basically, it was our way to be able to serve our community. And what we actually took the acronym FOR, and we basically said this, because people ask me all the time, what is For Bay County about? Find a need, organize the resources, and respond. And so basically, we are constantly looking in the community going, all right, where's a need? How do we organize resources? And then how do we respond? And this is where like 516 Project comes in, because oftentimes for us, if we find a need, it's not always about Northstar, like spending money, meeting that need, like in the context of we're the only ones. What we do is we look at our partnerships and say, is there somebody that we can bring with us to help make sure this need is met? Or is there somebody already doing this? And so, like, for instance, and I may jump ahead a little bit here. For us, we just said, all right, so this is what we do all the time. How do we help our people see the vision of, we are for our community and we want to serve our community? And so we said, all right, so what if every fourth Sunday we do $4 for Bay County, and we just tell our congregation and help them see the vision of every dollar that you give is going to go right back into this community. And so we'll find a need. We'll tell everybody, here's the need that we see. And basically, if it's one of our partners, we'll tell them what they're doing. And we'll take up and, sometimes $7,000, sometimes $30,000. And we give it to, Project 516 or one of our partners, or the specific need that is going on at that time. And the way I like to say it to our congregation is $4 is a cup of coffee. Everybody can, hopefully give $4. And if 2,000 of us are giving $4, that makes an impact. That's $8,000 where we can, go serve the community and make a difference. And so for us this year, this is the first year we've done this. It has just been huge. We have been able to pour back into the community, help organizations like Project 516 and 516 Project. and just make a difference, just making a difference and saying to people, we're here to serve the community and make a difference in the community. And I'll tell you what people are telling me when they give. We had a, not even associated with us, we had an organization just recently take up $26,000. They called me and said, the reason that we're going to give this money to Northstar is because 100% of it goes back into the community. All the other organizations we've talked to, there's an overhead cost, so forth and so on. And we make sure every penny goes right back into the community, and every dollar goes to the organization that we are helping. And we don't take any of it, not a dollar, not a cent.
When I first heard about it, Tommy called me up and said, hey, they're doing this $4 Sunday and they're going to donate it all to us. And I was like, oh, that's great. And in my head, that's the first thing I thought. I was like, well, I'm sure they'll take a percentage to cover their costs and, whatever, processing or, all that sort of stuff. And then I guess it was, probably 2 weeks later when I got the call from the church office about, it was all finalized and they were sending the check over, and they said, how much had been raised and how much we were getting. I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same number. That is really awesome that y'all do that and put that focus on making sure that, the church is so weaved into the community, both, physically getting out there and doing the work and supporting it financially. That's incredible. Yep. The tornado that came through Panama City, and I kind of wanted to just walk through that a little bit because I know, we were able to partner with you pretty quickly. And it was a neat experience from the standpoint of just organization. I know obviously people were struggling and affected, and there was just so much destruction around that. But it was also, like I said, it was a neat experience on our end because typically when we respond to natural disasters, we're coming from the outside, coming into a community. And so in this case, we had people that were in that community. And so, I was immediately on the phone with Tommy and Jana and a couple volunteers, just making sure, hey, are y'all all right? Where did this thing hit? Or, where is everybody? Sort of doing the checks and making sure everybody's okay. And then, of course, they were able to start getting out into the community pretty quickly to start helping. But I guess from your standpoint as the church, just kind of walk us through what was going through your head as a pastor, knowing like, hey, I've got people that are affected by this storm, and it's right here in our backyard. And just, kind of walk us through that first few hours. And then I kind of want to dive into a little bit of how we were able to merge together. And I mean, because even being here in Virginia and y'all in Panama City, we were able to help out with some of the logistics and working the phones and all that sort of stuff to make sure some of the things were happening smoothly. So we'll dive into some of that, but just kind of walk me through that first few hours of what that was like. One, knowing that this tornado had happened, and being that boots on the ground pastor, making sure that things were happening in the community.
I think it was like 4:30 in the morning. Our phones went off. We got the alert that, bad weather was in the area. My wife and I woke up, turned on the TV, watching what's happening. And they say tornado on the ground in Panama City Beach. And we live about 30 or 40 minutes north. We live up on a lake about 30 or 40 minutes north of that. So, we're watching, kind of, seeing what's going on. And, kind of my parents live here, other family members, church members. So we're, just thinking through the lens of, man, I hope nobody that we know has been affected by this. We're just trying to figure out, okay, how bad is it? And I remember, James, just as plain as day, I felt like God said to me, get dressed and go to the church. I'm just being transparent. My plan at 4:30 in the morning was to make sure that it didn't hit us. And once it didn't, I was getting back into bed and going to get back up, because I usually get up around 5:30. And I was like, I'll get back up at 5:30, 6. I may sleep in a little longer today. I just sensed that God was saying, go to the church. So I get out of the shower, and my wife comes walking in, and she's like, what are you doing? And I said, I feel like God wants me to go to the church. You need to get dressed. We're going to leave here in just a minute. And she's like, hey, there's another line coming through. And I said, I know, but I just feel like we need to get to the church. And so we did. We came straight to the church. The moment we pulled in the parking lot, the next line was coming through. We got inside. I was texting with Tommy saying, hey, I don't know what you guys are going to do. I'm trying to figure out how we're going to respond. And he's like, I'm on my way to the church. I'll be there in just a little bit. And I'm like, okay, Tommy, then I'm going to start kind of organizing some social media stuff to say we're going to be available to help the community. And I'll tell people to show up here, what time you think you're going to be here. And so we just kind of like put a schedule together. I told people to show up at the church. And I would say within 15 minutes after literally a tornado had ripped through one of the neighborhoods that was close to the church, Tommy, myself, and Keith Gillingham, who's over our Fort Bay County, jumped in the truck and ran down the street into the community. People are standing outside. And we just literally started going door to door saying, hey, we're going to be back here in about 30 or 40 minutes with a whole group of people, and we're going to be here to assist and help you guys however we can. Please, don't worry, don't panic, help us on the way. And people were just so grateful, because they're walking outside, looking and going, oh my goodness. Now, what I didn't know at the time, and I just think this is a God thing, this is how God works, is that tornado continued north and ripped through some areas, within a quarter of a mile of my house, north of here. And so we got everybody here, got organized. And I'm just going to brag on, you guys for a minute. And this is not like tooting your horn, but I want people to understand. My first fear was, okay, what if 100 or 200 volunteers show up? Are we going to have enough for them to do? And two, like, how are we going to get all these people organized? And of course, Tommy and Jana's like, no problem. We got the system to get them organized. We just need people to show up and sign a waiver. And y'all had everything in place. And so now I'm able to step back and go, okay, so how do we get our people to come alongside? Now, here's the crazy part. So our people start showing up, but as we get out in the community and start serving, James, I look around and there are, I'm going to say, maybe 100 or even maybe hundreds of people that I don't know, I have never seen before. And we're asking them like, hey, do you go to Northstar? How did you hear about this? Well, man, we were just on social media and saw what y'all were doing with, 516 Project. And we decided to come out and be a part of the Fort Bay County and 516 Project movement. And so here we are serving alongside all these people that we don't even know, who just saw like, hey, there's somebody that's organized in the community that is serving the greater need of the people, and we want to be a part. And I'm telling you, it was people from every kinds of background that you can think of, people far from God, people from other churches, people who, different lifestyles. Just people from everywhere. And the cool thing to me was, everybody had on a t-shirt, either it said, Project 516 or, Fort Bay County. There were no like church t-shirts. There were no like, anything. I guess what I'm trying to say is every barrier you could imagine being broken down was broken down. And here we are, arm in arm serving alongside these people. And the great part is having spiritual conversations. People asking us, why would you do this? Why do you guys do this? How, what are y'all about? And, man, just, literally I get teary eyed thinking about it, coming back and knowing that if it hadn't have been for, Project 5 or 516 Project, there is no way, we would have been able to do it. It would have been unorganized. Working with Tommy and Jana was just amazing because, when we got back that afternoon, that evening, we all sat down and kind of brainstormed and talked about how could we be better at this tomorrow. And I'm telling you, the next day we hit the ground, had teams go in before people even showed up to do evaluations because Tommy and Jana had trained us and said, here's what we need to do. And then we were able to organize teams to go into different places that have been hit really hard. And again, we could not have done that by ourselves. It was, the brains and the know-how of, Project or the 516 Project. I keep saying Project first. I do not know why. But the 516 Project, it was you guys who made that possible. And again, I just go, wow. Man, thank God that we have this partnership with y'all that allows us, to do these kind of things together And you take the load off of us of just being able to say, hey, show up, we'll get you plugged in, we'll show you where to go.
And you mentioned that, you really saw the community just come out and be there and start caring for people. And it was different backgrounds, different lifestyles, all sorts of different things. Dive into that a little bit more for me. I know you touched on it a little bit, but just to me, that is so powerful when you see something that's devastating start to bring out. It really starts to bring out the good in everybody around to make an impact. Dive into that a little bit more if you don't mind. I'm curious how what that was like for you as a pastor, seeing that in your own backyard, right there around your church.
I mean, amazing. I mean, like, you look around and I got a tattoo, so like tattoos don't bother me or anything like that. But you see guys that are tatted up, and like one guy's telling me, man, I just got out of prison, and man, I saw what you guys were doing, and I just wanted to come help. I mean, I just couldn't think of anything else, and I knew you guys were doing stuff, and he's just there with working alongside some of the other guys. And I mean, like literally, like at one point he had tears in his eyes and just said, man, this is so awesome to see people like caring about other people and not themselves. And, for me, I mean, I'm just sitting there going, this guy probably would have never showed up at Northstar. I mean, I don't know that for sure, but I'm just thinking in my head. I mean, I don't think he would, but because we were in the community and maybe it felt less threatening to him. And two, I mean, we weren't saying Northstar Church, we were saying, the 516 Project and, Fort Bay County are doing this together. And what I began to notice is then just people all over just started, calling us. We had people from, all the way from Jacksonville to Atlanta, different places, saying, hey, man, what do you need? How can we help? And again, it wasn't so much me. It was me being able to say, Tommy, Jana, 516 Project, what do we need? And, he's saying, hey, we may need an excavator, or we may need tractors, or we may need, and, we're able to connect them with 516, which again takes the weight off of us and allows us to be able to be the hands and the feet of Jesus, because, Tommy and Jana are the ones that are on the phone calling everybody and trying to figure out what we're going to do. But just looking around, I mean, like, and seeing all these people from different lifestyles, from different backgrounds, different colors of skin. It just didn't matter. In that moment, nobody cared. All everybody wanted to do is to, help their neighbor. And for me, that was just massive. And seeing how all these people came together. And so for us, I mean, like since that, it has driven even more this idea of how do we partner with the 516, and how do we continue to move forward in a way that we continue to make this not just something that happens when there's like a tragedy, but every month. How do we serve the community, and how do we go out and make a difference in the community? And so right now we're doing something where we're thinking about actually 2 weeks. I hope this podcast don't go out before then. But anyways, after 2 weeks after Easter, we hadn't told the church yet, but we're thinking about not even having service on Sunday. So you can imagine 2,000 people showing up, but talking with the 516 Project and other organizations of how can we be the hands and the feet of Jesus on Sunday, not be here in the building, but be in the community, serving the community. And a lot of that came out of what happened with the tornado is, hey, it seems like people, attach themselves to the mission. And we just want to be the hands and the feet of Jesus every day. And why can't we, worship by being out in the community, serving the community, rather than being here at church on a Sunday? And that's a radical move for us. But we have prayed about it, and our directional leadership team feels that it's something God wants us to do. And we are talking with, Jana and Tommy and 516 about how can we make this happen. And so I hadn't told them yet, but like I'm thinking, they probably got 20 projects that need to be done, and we may be able to get all those projects done on that Sunday. having all those people together, working and again, making a difference in the community and serving the community. But seeing people come together like that is what I believe, what Jesus would want, is us being his hands and feet to the community. And it didn't, I mean, even like, okay, I'll go this far. There was even people from other religious backgrounds. And that was the thing that just blew me away, is people are like, hey, you guys are making a difference, and we see the difference you're making, and we want to be a part. And out of that, the church has seen a huge influx of people that have, started coming, checking us out, just trying to figure out, like, man, who are these people and what are they doing? And we just want to continue to do it, be the hands and the feet of Jesus. Like I said at the very beginning, people don't want to know how much you know until they know how much you care. And so we're just trying to figure out, how do we care more for our community? How do we, continue to partner with 516 Project to serve this community and to make a difference?
I love the idea of doing the Easter serving instead of a service. That's so incredible. So I'm excited to see how that pans out.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on that we haven't touched on, about whether it's the partnership or the storm or serving or anything?
When we began our partnership with 516 Project, honestly, I don't think I ever realized how essential that would have become to the mission and the vision of Northstar. For me, I just continue to tell myself, hey, every day, be thankful that God has put, 516 not only here in our community, because, if Jana and Tommy hadn't moved here and been a part of Project 516 previously, I don't know that they would have, we would have started that here, if that makes sense.
Right.
And them having the vision, and then they came to me and sat down and kind of shared what they were doing. And it was kind of cool, because I had already been thinking about, man, I wish that we could build, ramps for, people that are, are hurting. And I'll give you one great story just real quick. I'm in a small group with some folks, and I'm not going to give names, but this one particular individual, her brother is not a believer, not a Christian. He had been diagnosed with cancer, was dying. And she just happened to mention in a small group one day, hey, he can't get out of the house because, the house, when he would come out, there was no ramp for him to come down. And she was explaining it to us. And I was like, oh my goodness, we actually have a group that we work with, called the 516 Project, that they can actually, build this for you. And so I talked to our small group. I talked to Tommy and Jana, and we went and actually, one weekend we put a ramp in this house. And this was the cool part to me. I'm watching this guy who hasn't been out of his house in probably a year and a half. And he literally rolls down the ramp and puts his feet on the ground for the first time in 2 years. And the emotion of that, like my small group getting together, 516 Project coming alongside my small group and helping us meet this need in this man's life, and seeing the smile on his face, and just knowing that his sister, who at the time was not a believer, but later became a believer, it was just huge, to watch how, again, we were able to meet a need and make a difference in a person's life. And I could tell you just story after story after story that has been like this, where, the 516 Project has gone before us, said, here's a need. We need these things. We come together, we go meet that need. And then all of a sudden you hear the story of how it impacted the life of this family, or, a single mom, an elderly person, and just constantly seeing this. And like I said, this is not just a once every 6 months situation. This is every 2 or 3 weeks. This is happening in our community. And man, I am so thankful that God gave us this partnership, and that we're able to work together, because to me, it's just been a almost like a marriage, like a marriage in heaven. Like us being able to work with you guys and be a partner has just meant the world to us, because the vision that you have and the vision that we have are identical, and I don't feel like they're competing against each other. The humility of this is not about Northstar. The humility, even with Project 516 or 516 Project, saying this ain't about us, but it's us together. Serving the community. And what I love is even when the news media is interviewing us. Some of the stuff that happened went national. We had tons of things happen overnight when the tornado ripped through, but neither one of us were competing for, look at us. But it was, hey, look at us together. Look at what, 516 Project and, Fort Bay County are doing together to serve the community. And it was so cool. Just to watch even on the news, where they would show, 516 Project, and then they would show, Fort Bay County. And so I just love the way it was these two organizations working alongside each other, not one going, look at us, but both of us going, hey, this is just it's a great partnership. It's a marriage. We're in this together, and we just love the ability to be able to serve our community.
I feel exactly the same way. It's like we'd love to be able to partner with you guys, and it makes us be able to expand reach just by leaps and bounds, both of what we would be able to do on our own in our little silo, and what the church would be able to do on your own in your little silo. But when we put those two together, it exponentially increases the number of people that we can serve, the way we can share the gospel in the community, just the people that are impacted, and the people, I always remind people, it's not just the people that we're serving that are impacted. The person getting the wheelchair ramp, obviously that's a huge life-changing event for them. But like you mentioned, there's a lot of people that are coming and serving that, have never set foot in a church before, or, don't know God, or don't have a relationship with Jesus, or whatever the case may be. And when they get to start seeing that and start to experience what all of that really means, and be able to decide, hey, this is something I want to know more about, and I need to start asking these questions. And then they have that easy yes to come to church, where, before it was, no, I don't think I want to go to church. I don't know about that. All those church people in there. Yeah. And so when we can start breaking those barriers down through swinging a hammer, or raking leaves, or cleaning up after a tornado, whatever it is, that's just, to me, that's just so huge of an opportunity, and I am honored and glad that we can be on that journey with you, for sure.
Well, and I'd say, James, like you just said, I'm not trying to repeat what you said, but a guy like you who probably was never going to go to church, and again, can't say never. You may have eventually, but somebody inviting you to go to a project. And that's what I realized. And so to any pastors that are listening, or anybody that's like leading a men's ministry, there is nothing greater than doing something like this together, and being able to say to your friend who maybe you've been praying for and you're wanting to go to church, to say, hey, man, we got this project that we're going to be doing. We'd love for you to come join us and be a part. And they're probably going to say yes to that. And now they'll get to hang out with some other guys, and they'll get to meet some other people and go,
yes.
Do what?
That's an easy yes.
Absolutely. Yes. And now, like, they're hanging out with these other guys, and they're going, hey, these people aren't weird, or they're not crazy like I thought they were, or whatever, and that's what I find is, like, a lot of times people will start laughing. They'll even tell me, they'll say, man, I thought you guys were crazy or something. And like, y'all are just normal people that, are making a difference. And I love that. I love the fact that you can, because I think if you can reach a man, it's a lot harder to reach men. And I just think this is a great way to reach men. And don't misunderstand what I'm saying here, because there are a lot of women that, are a part of these projects. But for men, so many men are sitting on the couch, not interested, don't want to go to church. And this is just a way to say to them, like, hey, here's how you can make a difference in the community. Because I think all of us want to make a difference with our life. And they see that and go, yes, I would love to do that. And then what we find is, as they serve and as they make friendships, guess what? One day they show up.
Well, Pastor Marty, I'm incredibly grateful for partnering with you and with Northstar and for your time today. For those listening or watching, if you're in the Panama City area, please stop by and check out Northstar. They're obviously a fantastic church that we love and are glad to partner with. So I hope you'll stop by and check them out. And even if you're down there visiting if you're on vacation down at the Panama City beach or whatever, jump across the bridge, go to service on Sunday. It'll be well worth your while. But thank you so much for your time today and kind of walking through some of this stuff with us. I know, like I said, to me, just the fact that our missions are so entwined and just being able to reach out to the community, reach out to the people that, like you said, there are so many people that maybe they wouldn't have walked through that church door, but they're willing to come out and help somebody. And then we can start to have these conversations with them. It's going to make a huge impact in the world and ultimately in eternity for sure.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, man. And thank you guys for the vision that y'all have, to serve the community and to make a difference. And like I said, man, it's just a perfect partnership. And, if there's a pastor out there thinking about, hey, how can we do something? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. I mean, I'm just telling you, if you can partner with 516, it'll make a huge difference because it just makes it easier to be able to do these things and to make a difference.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Pastor. Appreciate it. And thank you all for watching. Greatly appreciate tuning in, or if you're listening on the podcast, stay tuned. We're going to have a lot of things coming up. Check out the website, 516project.org. All the stuff is listed on there as far as how to get involved, volunteering, donating, whatever the case may be, and however you can get involved. There's always stuff on there about getting plugged in. And of course, follow along on social media at the 516 Project on Facebook and Instagram is where we're most active. So we'll see you on there. Thanks.